guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I am Ashley. I'm a homeschooling mom with 7 kiddos ranging from 12 years down to a year. So we have a huge range of kids in the mix. If you are new and you don't know, we were a public school family until my oldest was through 3rd grade. So we started homeschooling when he was in 4th grade, and he is now in 7th grade. So this is our 4th year of homeschooling. Each year it gets easier, but each year is not the same as the previous year. There are always changes. There are always things that I do differently. Sometimes mid-year, I wanted to kind of go over how our first day back went, and kind of how we do things when we return to school, not necessarily for the year, but just for like the spring semester, so in January. A few things. So I am very laid back. I'm not laid back in a lot of areas, but I am fairly laid back when it comes to the start of our school year. I try and stick with the public school schedule for the most part, because that's what my older kids are used to, that particular structure aspect. But coming back in January, I kind of selfishly look at where I am on the calendar and is this a good day to start? Surprisingly, this year, my 2 older kiddos kind of started back on their own before I was even going to start. The week, I guess it was the week after Christmas, like let's say we would be going to an appointment or something like that, they would bring their stuff with them, not because I told them to, but just because it made sense. And like I've said in one of my other videos, that I sometimes do school that way. Like if it's, a random time of day or whatever, I use those opportunities to say, hey, let's just get this over with real quick. Let's just catch up, or let's get ahead and go ahead and do this lesson because, you're bored. We don't have anything else to do. Let's just do it. So I think they kind of recognize that, if they do it when they can get ahead and they can finish earlier. So my older kids realize that. My younger ones, not so much, but my 2 older ones did start a little bit earlier on their own. And it was very just, okay, I'm going to do a lesson of language arts. I'm going to do a math lesson, whatever. I did not have a specific day that I was going to start back. I knew it was going to be the first part of January, but I didn't know if I was going to let that whole first week go, to kind of catch up on the new year and catch up on, just cleaning as far as, all the toys and everything. But surprisingly, was it Sunday, this past Sunday, one of my older kids was like, okay, I guess we're going to start school tomorrow. Okay. I mean, that is really how laid back it is. I just went with it. I don't do a lot of, prep work necessarily. And so it doesn't take me a long time. We can just jump right in. And so I think, there's a huge difference in homeschool, how you go about your homeschool days. Do you take a lot of time to prep and get everything ready and have everybody on the couch or everybody at the table and everybody in the same place at the same time? I'm lucky if I get everybody in the same place at the same time. But again, that's a difference with a large family, is that you kind of just have to go with the flow and figure out just how to get it done to where it gets done. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be in order. Just get it done. And that is kind of how my mindset has changed from homeschooling 1 kid or 2 kids at the beginning, to essentially 5 right now. Obviously more later. So My laid back approach is what works for me. But the first day back, really, there were no expectations other than my younger kids knowing that we are going to do what I tell you we're going to do. I had mentioned in, I forget which video it was, that I think my update or what we were changing, or I can't remember, um, that keeping their attention is such a key thing in the morning, like first thing in the morning, is a is such a important thing because they will fade quickly. And our first day back, what I did was I took my first grader, who is typically the one that does not want to do the work that I tell her. She is, she'll be the one to try and hide because she doesn't want to do school. She'd rather play. And so I knew that I had to do her first. And so what I did was I got her language arts, and we are actually a little bit behind in language arts as far as lessons, as far as getting done when I want to get done, which again, that's okay, but I prefer for everybody to be done at the same time. So we need to play a little bit of catch up with her. And so I am going forward, I am going to try and do 2 lessons a day. They are short lessons. We use the Good and the Beautiful. She is on the level K because they are a little bit more advanced in their levels than the level that I thought that she was going to be in. So we are going to do 2 lessons a day as best we can. I don't tell her that because as soon as I tell her that, well, no, you said we were only going to do 1, or no, I just want to do 1. No, I just turn the page and keep going. And really, they are not long lessons. They are very short lessons. So it is not something that's going to take a huge amount of time. But just keep in mind that as we are getting into January, and if you do not homeschool year round, if you homeschool and you finish, at the typical time of May or early June or whenever, you can kind of see by now whether or not things need to be caught up. So that is what we did on the first day, and that is what I'm going to continue to do. And I got a little bit of backlash from her for starting, and I wasn't ready. None of that. We are going forward. We are going to finish, and we are going to be done with this. So that is how that went for my first grader. My kindergartner and my almost 4-year-old were more excited about, continuing on. Now, like I've mentioned before, we have been kind of continuously throughout the break, I've been having my first grader trying to read a story to me out loud at least once a day on her level. I have, with my kindergartner and my almost 4-year-old, I have done letter matching or things like that to kind of keep those fresh in their minds, specifically my kindergartner. So really it wasn't a huge jump from doing nothing for 3 weeks or 2 weeks, however many weeks we took off, I don't even remember now, to going full force back into school. We were still gradually kind of doing things throughout the break. So going back into it really was not a huge thing. It was almost like we just had a long weekend off. And truthfully, when you get to that point of, I think it's like a lot of parents that have their kids go to public school, you get to that end of the break and you're itching, okay, they're bored, they're, just doing mindless things, video games, or, just causing a ruckus, and you want to get back into that structure. And so I think even though they might not admit it, the kids thrive on that structure, as do I. So keeping that up and but gradually going into that. And I think that's why I had us do, obviously to keep things fresh in their mind, but I think that's why I had us do that also was for my little kids, was so that it wasn't a huge jump. We go from 3 weeks of nothing to all the way back into 2 lessons a day. I don't want to do that. I want them to feel like they are just kind of continuously learning, but we scaled back for that certain length of time. So that was that. Like I've said, in the morning is when I think everybody works best, because by afternoon we're getting ready for activities, we're getting ready, after school activities, we're getting ready for dinner stuff, we're getting, naps, whatever. And so in the morning is when it works best. That's just how it goes. So we are not super early. We do not get up at 7 in the morning. We get up between 8:30. And so I like to start by 10, and usually we are done by lunchtime. My older kids will start earlier a lot of times because their stuff is more independent. So I did not have any issues the first day with my older kids. They know the drill, and they know, okay, keep going. Had some questions here and there, obviously had to help them with certain things, but overall they are independent. So I want that to kind of be, if you have younger kids that are not cooperative, because I have both. I have younger kids that are not, I have younger kids that are, I have older kids that are cooperative. And so, they all have their moments, obviously, no matter how many times you say they're great students and they're great, they do exactly what they're supposed to do. They have their moments. So I'm not saying my older ones are perfect, but, if you only have little kids and you're looking at this homeschool thing and like, this is impossible, this is not going to work, it gets better. As they get older, it gets better, and they understand their expectations more. So just keep that thought in your head. If you are a homeschooling mom, whether it's new or, a veteran homeschool mom with little kids that just, it doesn't seem to click, just stay the course, because I have to tell myself that with my little kids that, like I said, they're not used to that structure of a public school environment. And so this is all kind of new to them. So that's that. I also like to, get everything clean. Everything was kind of, as much as I would love to keep Christmas stuff up like all year, I got everything down. We took everything down this past weekend when it was still a little warmer. And that kind of also helps to reset, refresh, new semester. And I think that's why I like doing it before we start school, because I feel like with the Christmas stuff and all of that, we're still kind of in the 2021 mindset. I want to get out of that. I want to get into the 2022 mindset of just starting clean and starting fresh, and moving forward with school and doing those changes and anything that needs to be tweaked starting in January. So overall, our first day back went well. It was better than I expected as far as just transitioning into that from the break. I feel like once, Christmas is over and New Year starts, everybody just kind of gradually shifts. And, your mind, just everything just kind of shifts. And you're like, okay, we're going to leave everything behind. We're going to change what we need to change. We're going to, tweak what we need to tweak. And everybody's just going to be great, hopefully. So let me know how your first day went. Again, I have learned, do not expect anything. Do not expect, if you're trying to change things, do not expect this huge transition, from December to January, because sometimes it's just not going to happen. A lot of things just have to happen gradually. And going into January, you just take what you learned in December and, from August to December of what didn't work, and you just do your best to change it and make everybody's transition a little bit easier. So let me know how your first day went. If you have started back, let me know down below, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.